welcome. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a super easy and affordable everyday makeup look. This video was actually requested by my lovely sister-in-law. So she had sent me a couple of makeup looks that she found on Facebook and Instagram. And she told me she really liked the idea of sort of this natural, soft glam look for every day, but asked if I could do a tutorial and recreate the looks using affordable products. The sort of common theme in both of the looks that she sent me was sort of a nice kind of flawless full coverage base with a bronze contour blush highlight. So the focus is mostly on the face, and then they have more of a sort of simple natural eye. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. Again, this is not meant to be necessarily like a quick 5-minute everyday makeup look. This usually takes me anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes to complete. There are a number of things in this look that you could cut out though if you are in a rush. So again, if you want to see my take on an easy everyday soft glam makeup look, then just keep on watching. Okay, first things first, we're going to go in with foundation. I'm going to be using the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint. This is one of my favorite drugstore foundations. I have been using this product for years, and I think it's kind of the perfect, again, it's a skin tint. It's fairly light coverage, but for me, it just kind of evens everything out. It doesn't break me out. It feels really nice on the skin all day. So what I'm going to do is just apply this all over my face, and then I'm going to go back in with concealer to do most of the work as far as coverage goes. You could totally use a medium or full coverage foundation here. Personally, I just don't like something that heavy on my skin for every day. So like I said, I prefer to just use something that's a little bit lighter and then do work with concealer where I actually need it and where I need the coverage so that my whole face doesn't feel too heavy. But I would just suggest using whichever foundation works best for you on an everyday basis here. Okay, so I have one layer of that foundation on, which again just kind of provides a nice little light layer of coverage and evens everything out even where I don't necessarily need it. So now what I'm going to do is go in with my concealer, and I'm going to use the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. This is a really great drugstore full coverage concealer. So again, what I'm going to do here is now focus this on the areas that I actually have blemishes and the areas that I need the coverage so that it's only heavy in the places that I actually need it to be. So I've got some, I don't know what happened to this cheek over here, but got some breakouts going on over there. I'm going to put a little bit on my chin and kind of the center of my face just to brighten things up. Obviously on the side of my nose, in the middle of my forehead. This cheek is okay. This one is just giving me problems for some reason. So anyway, this does, a note on this concealer, it does dry fairly quickly, so I'm going to blend all of this out before I move on to my under eyes, just so that it doesn't set too much and become too difficult to blend. So I usually like just patting this out with my finger to kind of evenly distribute the product, and then I'm going to go in with a little brush and kind of blend it out to smooth it all over. Now that I've got that on my blemishes and all blended out, I'm going to move on to under the eyes. Again, the reason that I'm waiting here is because this concealer tends to dry down pretty quickly, and when that happens, it can be difficult to work with. So I would recommend working in sections here. But I'm just going to apply a little bit of this underneath my eyes. I would always start with less and then add more if you end up needing more coverage. One other note really quickly, I'm being really careful not to get this too close to underneath my eye. I find that when you get it kind of like right up into your lashes, that's when it can start to look cakey and it can start to crease. So I usually try to focus it sort of right underneath here and then blend just a little bit up there to even it out, but you really don't need all that coverage like right underneath your lash line. And I see a lot of people take these wands and just like sweep them right underneath, which to me, that's just too much. So again, I try to avoid putting it right up under there, and I just use what's on my finger to get up there. Again, I'm just patting this out with my finger first, and then I'm going to go back in with my little brush and blend it all out. By the way, if I forget to mention a product or anything, I will have everything listed down below along with my shades in case you're curious. So again, if I forget to mention anything or I don't mention a shade, you can check down below. All right, so I've got all my concealer on my face and I am happy with the coverage. So next thing is I'm gonna set my face using my Covergirl Loose Professional Powder. I use this in every single one of my videos. I think this is a great drugstore powder. It is translucent, so it's not gonna give you any coverage. It's just perfect for setting everything in place. If you're planning on doing bronzer, contour, highlight, blush, all of that, even if you don't have oily skin, I would still recommend setting your face just so that the products, the other powder products that you put on top of your skin go on nice and smoothly. Otherwise, if there's any bit of tackiness, some of those other products aren't gonna go on as nicely. So anyway, I just patted that all over my skin, and now I'm just using a really light hand and just kind of spreading it all over. Moving on to bronzer now, I'm going to be using my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is one of my favorite drugstore bronzers. So I'm just going to use a big fluffy brush, and I'm kind of swirling my brush in here. And I'm going to first just bronze up my whole face before I go in and contour. So I'm going to start at my forehead and just make a big 3 on my face. So again, I'm starting at my forehead, I'm going right underneath my cheekbone and then down underneath my jaw. I'm sure you are all very familiar with this method for bronzing, but that's what I'm doing. Again, this is just meant to kind of warm up my complexion overall. Don't forget the neck. I feel like my face is looking a little bit darker than the neck, so I'm gonna be extra sure to kind of like bring this everywhere else so I match. It is winter and I have not been in the sunlight in quite some time. So I need lots of bronzer. Okay, so again, that's just gonna give us kind of an overall warmth on our face. I'm gonna use the same product to contour, but now I'm just gonna go in with an angled brush. I'm gonna, again, use this to contour, so now I'm just gonna focus it right underneath my cheekbone. So much hair. Yes, I do make a fish face every time I do this. It's just helpful. I don't know. I'm going to put a little bit on the sides of my nose as well, and then right underneath here to get rid of that pesky double chin. Can't have any of that. Okay. Contour's on. I always like to blend a little bit just to keep it a little bit softer. So I'm gonna go back in with the brush that I used to put the bronzer all over my face and just gently kind of blend this out. Next is blush, and I'm gonna use my Covergirl Trublend So Flushed High Pigment Blush in the shade Love Me. I actually really like this blush. I think for a drugstore blush, it's really nice. It's not overly pigmented, like it's not the most pigmented blush that I've ever used, but for a drugstore blush, again, I think it's pretty nice. And this color on me is really pretty too because it's not over the top. It's a pretty kind of natural pinky mauve shade. There is a little bit of, it's not shimmer, it's like iridescence in it. There's a little bit of gold, but it kind of just adds a nice little pretty finish to the cheeks. So anyway, I'm just kind of popping this on the apples of my cheeks and working it backwards into my hairline. I'm going to go back in again with my brush that I used for bronzer and just lightly blend the blush out a little bit more as well. You could totally skip this. I just happen to be like a freak about blending and I like to make sure everything is nice and soft, so I probably overblend, but can't forget the highlight. So now I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter, and this is in the shade, what do we got? Rose Gold. I'm just using a little brush. By the way, I don't think I've mentioned what brushes I've been using. I'm just grabbing what I have here. It's a mix of affordable and high-end, but if you are looking for some good affordable brushes, I highly recommend Real Techniques and Eco Tools. Those are my favorite kind of drugstore brush brands. So this is actually a Real Techniques brush here. It's just a little kind of face brush. So just dipping this into the highlighter and putting this right on top of the cheekbones. And then I'm just taking whatever's left on the brush and I'm going right down my nose. I'm not dipping into it again because I find that if you dip into the highlighter and put it right down the nose, it's too much. So I just like taking what's left on my brush and doing it that way. And then if you want, you can put some right on your Cupid's bow as well. I bet you can guess what's next. We're gonna blend. So I'm just taking the same brush again and running it really softly right along the highlighter to get rid of any harsh edges. Again, you could totally skip all this. You don't have to blend after every step. It's just what I do, so I'm showing you. Next, I'm going to do my brows, and I'm going to actually just probably cut this part out because I do my brows the same way in every single video. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm sure you've seen this, but I'm going to be using my Covergirl Easy Breezy Brow. This is a powder. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in my brows, and then we will be back to do the eyes. Okay, we are back and the brows are done. They are a little bit bolder than usual. I don't know what happened, but that's okay. We're gonna move on to the eyes. Like I mentioned at the beginning, we are gonna keep the eyes really simple. Again, the focus is kind of on a nice, like flawless contoured base for this particular look. So you probably don't even need to purchase a new eyeshadow palette. Really, all you're gonna need is a matte sort of white cream shade and then another matte black dark brown shade, which you could also skip, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm using this Makeup Revolution, just like big palette that I have. It's super old. I don't even know if you can get it anymore, but use whatever matte white shade you have. So I'm just going to take this on a brush and I'm going to put this right underneath my brow for a highlight. And I'm actually going to, I'm being really careful because I already did my brows. That was kind of stupid, but oh well. I'm going to put this underneath there as a highlight, like I said, and then I'm actually going to put this all over my lid as well. My goal with doing this is to just kind of get a nice, even lid. I have very fair skin and my lids are like rather see-through, so you can see like every vein, you can see all the discoloration. So again, my goal here is to just kind of place this color down so that my lids match the rest of my face and it's nice and even. I'm going to also bring this right into the inner corner and right underneath just to kind of, again, brighten up the inner corner. Nothing too complicated there. Again, I just want a nice kind of even base on my lids. Next, what I'm going to do is go back in with my bronzer. Where's my brush? This is a mess. Found it. Okay, I'm going to use a nice crease brush and go back into my bronzer and just put this right in my crease. You can be pretty messy with this. At this point, I'm doing this just to add a little bit of dimension. And I think that using the bronzer in here, I see a lot of people do this, and it does kind of, I don't know, I find it more flattering because it kind of matches the shades that you already have on your skin. Plus, it's just another product that you've already got out, so relatively easy. Again, I'm just popping this pretty messily right into my crease. I'm going to also take this on the same brush and put this right underneath my eye to create a nice little shadow. Then this is the part that I would say is optional, just depending on how much time you have. If you want to skip a step, I would probably skip this. But what I'm going to do is take now, I've got this matte black, you can't see that. I've got this matte black in this palette here. You can use any deep shade, so any brown, black, whatever you want to use. What I'm going to do is take this on a pencil brush. Again, just rather messily, I'm going to put this as kind of a liner on the outer sort of third of my lash line. So again, I focused that kind of right on the outer third, outer half, really softly, just to add a little bit of dimension to the lash line. I'm going to take what's left on my pencil brush now and just run this along the outer third of my lower lash line. I'm not dipping into any more product here, or it's just going to be way too intense. Again, if you're looking to make this look a little bit simpler, I would go ahead and skip that last shade and just throw the bronzer in the crease. So I'm going to apply mascara now just to my top lashes. So I'm going to apply 2 coats of this to my upper lashes. So for this next step, if you are short on time, I would go ahead and just apply a little bit of the Lash Blast mascara onto the lower lashes. But what I like doing for a look like this is actually using a blue mascara on my lower lashes. I think it's just really pretty for an everyday look. It kind of brightens up the eyes a little bit. It's really subtle, and I just think it looks pretty. So I'm going to take just a blue mascara. This is the Maybelline Snapscara in this like cobalt blue color, but they have a lot of different colored mascaras out there now. I've seen like dark greens, I've seen purples. So if you're looking to just add a little bit of like pop of color and brighten up your eyes, I would suggest doing this trick. Somebody's calling me. Hello? Spam. Again, this is something that I like doing if I have a little bit of extra time and I want to just add a little bit of something extra to the look and brighten up my eyes. So again, I'm going in with this cobalt blue color, and I'm just going to apply this lightly to my lower lashes. As I was putting that on, I realized I forgot a step. This is getting more and more complicated as it goes on. But I'm going to go back in with my highlighter again. Like, you can skip this if you don't have the time on an everyday basis. Actually, I take that back. If you're running short on time, I would skip adding the dark color to the lash line. I would put the color in your crease and then I would do this step. So I'm taking the highlighter again on a very small little pencil brush, not the one we used for the black, a different one. And I'm going to put this right in my inner corner. I love doing this. I can't believe that I forgot it. I guess I was so concerned about getting the blue mascara on that slipped my mind. But this just adds, again, kind of pulls the face in with the eyes because we're using the same shade, and just makes the eyes pop even more. I really love this eye look. It's one of those looks that is super simple and easy to do, but it doesn't look like it. So I hope that you guys can see the blue. I hope it's picking up on camera. I don't know if it will or not, but when I look at it, it's so subtle, but it just kind of brightens up my eyes, and I love that. So we're almost done, I promise. Last is going to be the lips. I am just going to take a makeup wipe and get all the crap off of my lips. That is actually one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate when people leave foundation on their lips and then they apply like lip gloss or lipstick. I can't stand it. It just makes my lips feel so weird and so cakey, so I always have to take that off. But for lips today, I'm using this really pretty kind of neutral mauve shade. This is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Reef. All right, you guys, and with that, we are finished. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial for this easy, everyday, soft glam makeup look using affordable products. If you did like this video and you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.